Good morning, everyone. I, I see that. I would like to call the Forest Preserve District of Will County Operations Committee to order at 9 a.m. And would everyone please stand for the pledge? Mr. Sergeant Phil Glacier, newly sergeant, would you mind leading us in the pledge? To the republic for which it stands, Thank you, sir. Roll call. Please.
Dean Schlottman. Here. Balich. Here. Williams. Here. Coleman. Freeman. Berkowitz. Trainier. Pretzel. Van Dyne.
Present.
Also present Treasurer Newquist and President Parker. We have 7. We have a quorum.
7, we do have a quorum. Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the operations minutes of August 1st. We have a motion, second. Any discussion? Minutes. Roll call, please.
Dean Schlottman. Yeah, here. Yeah. Balich. Williams. Coleman. Freeman. Berkowitz. Trainier. Pretzel.
Yes.
Van Dyne.
Yes.
7 approved.
7-0, motion carries. Thank you. There's no old business. Mrs. Trenier?
Thank you, Chair Van Dyne. I read some unfortunate news in the paper today that in some respects it deals with our old business. I read that our former lobbyist, Brent Hassert, passed away on the 29th of August. As many people know, he was married to Leanne Goodson, a former Forest Preserve district member and county board member. And I just wanted to say that we will miss him. His firm did an amazing amount of work for us, getting grants, saving us tons of funds, and just was an overall good guy. And it was just kind of sad.
Thank you for the reminder, Jackie. And if we all may, can we just take a moment of silence on Brent's behalf? Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there any other old business to be brought forward? None. All right. Moving on to new business. It looks like we have 8 items to consider this morning. I'll start with number 1, award a contract in the amount of $82,240 to GC Designs of Minooka for the Illinois Veterans Memorial Trail landscape enhancements. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please. Yes, sir.
I know I'm not in this committee, so I'm sorry that I'm talking over committee members, but is this with the 2025 to 2030 CI capital improvement plan?
No, this is actually a separate contract and agreement that we negotiated with the tollway a few months ago.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, award a contract in the amount of $34,813.74 to Lakeshore Recycling Systems of Rosemont for the West Zone Waste Removal and Recycling. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, award a contract in the amount of $181,750 to Homer Tree Care of Lockport for annual tree and brush maintenance. Micah, good morning.
So we're paying for someone to come out and remove brush and trees.
Correct. So they do the larger trees that our staff are unable to do. They have the equipment to do so. Plus, when we have a large scale storm event and we need to get a lot cleaned up, we only have so many folks that can do it, and they can do it alongside of us.
That was my main question was, don't we have staff that can do this? But if it's
Yeah.
the larger trees, possibly getting up them to, okay.
Right. And it's a pay as you go contract. So the 181 is the not to exceed limit.
So if it's under that, it's,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? You want to roll? Okay, I'll ask for a roll call.
Dean Schlottman. Balich. Williams. Coleman. Freeman. Berkowitz. Trainier. Pretzel. Van Dyne.
Yes.
That's 8.
8-0, motion carries. Thank you. Number 4, approval of ordinance number 672, authorizing the termination of one private license agreement number 0743 at Joliet Junction Trail Preserve and Theodore Marsh Preserve. Is there a motion? Thank you. I can wait. Thank you. Okay, we do have a previous and a second. There is a question, Mrs. Trenier.
Yes, thank you, Chair Van Dyne. Why? I didn't see anything in the ordinance language to explain why we were ending the private license agreement. Just curious.
They originally negotiated it to run a sewer across the Joliet Junction property and then found a different way to locate the sewer. So they no longer needed it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, approval of ordinance number 673, authorizing public utility license number 2412 to Comcast Corporation for the installation and maintenance of underground fiber optic cables, fixtures within the and across the Wabansie Glacial Trail at the intersection of Laraway Road in Joliet Township. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion will carry. Approval of Resolution 2418 authorizing an IGA agreement with number 2404 between the Forest Preserve District of Will County, City of Lockport, Village of Romeoville for a cost-sharing agreement related to the I&M Canal path costs. Questions, concerns? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion will carry. Number 7, permission to bid overseeding and ecological management at Fort Creek Preserve in 24 and in 25. Is there a previous roll? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to need some coffee in here. Number 8, permission to advertise for a director of finance.
Nothing
Yeah,
happened. Lisa's decided to retire in the first quarter of 2025. And so we'd like to hire her replacement before she leaves so that they have some time to work together.
So if we deny, does she have to stay?
yeah.
I like that thought.
Meta?
Congratulations.
I was going to say congratulations. How many years have you been here with us? 17 years, guys, just in case you didn't hear that. Thank you so much, Lisa.
So March of 25, you still have her till March of 25? Okay, great. Past the next budget. Okay, we do have a second previous. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion will carry. There is no executive session for us this morning. No actions to follow. Reports. Our next meeting date is scheduled for October 3rd, 2024 at 9 a.m. right here in this building. Comments by the public? Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? Well, welcome to our meeting, and go ahead and feel free to line up over here at the podium, and if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself, and then we typically give 3 minutes to speak.
Anyway, good morning. My name's Jim Hertz. My wife and I live in Frankfurt, and among other things, I'm a bike rider, trail runner, and hiker. I also set up a Facebook page for biking in the Lincoln Way area with currently 522 members. I'm also a senior citizen with 5 married children and 11 grandchildren. I appreciate the opportunity to address the board members on the operation committee. A number of other trail users are here in support of our comments. And I believe we have some on live stream listening in too that support. But it said that ships are safest in the harbor, but that's not what they were designed for. Similarly, parks and preserves are designed to bring people into and appreciate nature, not sit unused. Many national parks, state parks, and county forest preserves do this in part by encouraging mountain biking and trail running on well-built natural surface trails designed to minimize the impact on the environment. In fact, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources has provided grants to build and maintain such multi-use natural surface trails. When I became aware of the Will County Forest Preserve's campaign, Calling Your Constituents Jerks, I filed a Freedom of Information Act request. I'm seeking a number of documents principally related to the board's discussion of banning mountain biking and other users of the dirt trails. I'm also seeking documents related to the preserve's justification for banning mountain biking, such as how many complaints have been about mountain bikers having, quote, spooked a horse in the Hickory Creek Forest Preserve, where horseback riding is prohibited. The response to my FOIA request is due September 9th. We're fortunate to have in this area the Chicago Area Mountain Bikers Association, who are experts on building and maintaining natural surface multi-use trails. They promote stewardship, environmental, and social responsibility, education, and a spirit of cooperation among all trail users, the conservation community, and governing bodies such as the Will County Forest Preserve. We're also fortunate to have Mike Agnes here. He's the executive director of the Camber, and he is here to discuss how Camber works with governing bodies similar to the Will County Forest Preserve to enhance recreational opportunities for your constituents. But before Mike takes the floor, what we're asking for the board is to work with us in Camber to designate natural surface trails in the portion of Hickory Creek Forest Preserve east of Wolf Road for mountain biking, hiking, and trail running. Also, besides Mike, Jeffrey Lamort and Lori Paris are here to speak too. And thank you very much for your cooperation. Mike?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Members of the board. My name is Mike Angus. I'm the executive director of Camber. Camber is a volunteer organization that maintains approximately 70 miles of trail, natural surface trails across 8 trail systems in the Chicago area. The trails that we're responsible for are maintained to international standards, to a very high standard. They consider the nature of the trail users, the sensitivity of the environment, and they are built in a manner that minimizes the impact to the environment. Many of the land managers that work with are your peers. Forest Preserve District of Cook County, Forest Preserve District of Kane County are 2 major participants in our program, as well as many park districts. We have agreements in place with each land manager through memorandums of understanding, as well as legal contracts, and perform any services under the volunteer programs. All of the work performed on the preserves is scheduled, planned, and agreed to with the land managers prior to having a workday. Last year, Canberra volunteered over 6,000 hours to the forest preserves alone. That excludes the park districts. We have an operational budget of approximately $200,000 per year. We have our own equipment. We have certifications to use that equipment through the districts, our license to herbicide and do brush pile burns where necessary. Canberra does more than maintain and build trails. We work with the land managers to improve the preserves through the removal of trash, adequate sight lines, report illegal activities, signage, removing illegal trail construction, remove invasive trees, and also keep people away from highly sensitive areas. We work with the forest preserves to identify where they want people out, and we make sure that we guide the trails away from those areas. Each trail system has a dedicated trail director that reports to a region, which governs the activities of the trail director. Communications to the trail users take place via dedicated Facebook pages for each trail system, and our website shows the status of the trail as to whether it's good for trail users to use or whether they'll damage the trail. We even have plans in place with dispatch units so that they know if somebody gets injured on the trail and how to get to them and get them out. Canberra funds each trail system, feeds the volunteers, purchases and maintains tools, get volunteers certified, and ensure that all trail users sign waivers for both the Forest Preserve District and Canberra prior to workdays. Canberra volunteers basically become a helping hand in maintaining the trails, working with your oversight and authority. Yesterday, when I was in the office, I actually work downtown. My office is downtown Frankfurt. I mentioned to a few of the local staff that I'll be here today, and they all recognized the preserve and the nature of the off-road trails. And these people are professionals. They're moms and dads. They're lawyers. They're airline pilots. They're professional developers. And these people are using your preserve. And I think you'll be surprised how many people. You get 5 people throughout the day using the preserve. Multiply that by 365 days a year. You'll be amazed how many people are using your preserve over here. Many of the trail users here today have approached Canberra. We are willing to work with the land manager and with the trail users to help you maintain your trails here and make sure that they're kept to a very high standard. If you want to reach out to Cook County or Kane County, please do. Speak to your peers. We're very highly respected and we have very good working relationship with them. So I encourage you to listen to the people, listen to trail users, and let us help you if you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning. Welcome.
My name is Jeffrey Lamort. I'm a local businessman for over 30 years, community activist, avid backpacker, trail runner, cyclist, and most importantly, a husband and a father. I'm pleased to be able to speak here today. For over 2 decades, I've enjoyed living in the area of Hickory Creek Woods. I've watched the interest in the forest preserve grow over the years, but never as rapidly as since COVID. Today, the largest group of people that I've spoken to or seen utilizing the trail system are women, teens with their parents, and people over the age of 50. It's a diverse section of the community. Many of these people, in particular these kids, have put down their cell phones and taken to connecting with nature. While absolutely appreciating what we have, a few miles of paved path takes only a few minutes to complete on a bicycle and only slightly more on a run. Throughout cities, counties, and the country, leaders are recognizing that paved trails, while valued, are simply incomplete for today's outdoor lifestyle community. Countless studies show that earthing, connecting with nature, dirt, directly lowers anxiety, reduces stress, reduces screen time on social media, and a host of other benefits. As you've just heard from Mike, this is not a new concept. We know how this system can be smartly, effectively, and properly managed to maintain the natural environment for all to enjoy and respect for generations. In closing, I want to focus on the kids. I'm a father, and many of you are parents. We want our children to be happy. We want them to get off cell phones. We want them to exercise, stay off drugs. I suggest to be effective, we have to meet them where they're at. To make these opportunities available, safe, and reasonably convenient. We in this room today have the opportunity to do just that. In closing, I just want to say real quick, my stepdaughter is currently in surgery. She's a daughter to me, not as a result of any of this. She was in a car accident. Many of you might have heard on LaGrange Road. It was terrible. She was in a head-on collision. She's survived. Her leg is badly damaged. She's an avid cyclist. I told her, I don't need to go to this meeting. She wants me to go. The surgery's in the afternoon. And she wanted me to say a little something. She said, "Hi, I hope you'll let us ride on the trails by my house. My mom doesn't like me and my friends driving all the way to Palos all the time. And now after my accident, it's going to be even worse." We promise we're not jerks. Sorry. And promise to take care of them. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have to go after Jeff.
Hmm.
Sorry, getting old, can't see things very well. So, hi, I'm Lori Paris, and I'd like to thank the board for your time today. I'm a homeowner in Mokina and Frankfurt for the last 26 years. I'm also a mother of 3 kids, an avid hiker, biker, trail runner. I'm also a Girl Scout leader. I became a Girl Scout leader in 2020, right when everything was shutting down. Our troop could have essentially shut down at that point, but me and my co-troop leader decided that we were going to take the group of junior high girls who, you know, are very anxious, very attached to their cell phones. We took them out hiking and biking in the Will County Forest Preserves. That was our meeting every week for the rest of the school year, and we've continued it on for the last 4 years. It's our favorite place to go, and the favorite thing to do is to hike or bike off the paved trail. And they are very respectful. They make sure that they, you know, pack anything in, they bring anything out, and they also pick up trash as we go. And as Jeff noted, that being outside in nature is shown to reduce stress and anxiety, improve your mood, reduce your risk of depression, you get some physical exercise, you keep off the cell phones, and you create a sense of community. We see more and more people outside on the paved trails and the dirt trails. And demand has been growing ever since I've been hiking in the woods out there. As Jim, Mike, and Jeff have eloquently stated, we respectfully ask that the Will County Forest Preserve to allow the mixed-use recreation, meaning the natural surface trails at Hickory Creek Woods for walking, hiking, running, and mountain biking to meet the needs of the residents. We propose that Will County partners with Camber, whose mission is to promote trail advocacy, sustainable trail development on natural surfaces, and responsible cycling. Camber currently operates in other trail systems with similar ecological regions. The trails in the eastern portions of Hickory Creek Preserve have been there for at least a decade and have gained a lot of interest and usage since 2020. These existing trails are ones we'd like to see designated as multi-use, marked for navigation, and properly managed to promote their responsible recreational use by families in the Lincoln Way area. We appreciate the wonderful forest preserves, the woodlands, the trails in Will County, and all the hard work that you do to make that happen. And in closing, what we'd like to do is just meet with the board and Camber to discuss ways that we can partner together to make this a reality, a trail system that we can hike or mountain bike on that's close to home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak? After having conversations with our president and our executive director, I think it would be wise for the board to request that our executive director and these folks meet offline and try to come up with some kind of compromise to present to the commissioners to make a decision. If one of you folks would like to stick around and get our executive director's phone number or contact information, and these discussions can continue. So thank you everyone for coming in this morning. No other public comments, so let's move on to comments by commissioners. And I see Mr. Balich was first. And I don't have a list, so I'll just try to pick.
Okay. Well, I'm not a jerk. I might be stupid sometimes, but I'm not a jerk. And that's only occasionally. But you know what? Forest Preserve is for people. And if people want to ride their bike right through the trees with no pad, I don't see a reason they can't do it. I don't see how people can hurt the Forest Preserve by riding a bike anywhere in there. And I don't think that's a executive decision. I think that's a policy decision that should be made with an ordinance or a resolution. So I think that we should bring forward a resolution to allow people to ride bikes anywhere they want in the forest preserve, because people are not dumb enough to ride where there's only trees and high shrubs on a bike. But if they want to, God bless them. They can get out and carry their bike across all that stuff. You got animals, deer and gooses, geese, or whatever the heck, and you got all kind of animals that walk through the forest preserve. Do they make trails as they walk? Because I think animals like walking in the same path all the time. Are they destroying the flora and fauna that goes on in the forest preserve? I don't think so. It's all, humans should be more important than animals, at least in my mind. Nowadays, who the hell knows? But I think that a human should be able to do anything they want in the forest preserve that isn't destructive, like taking an axe and chopping a tree down or lighting a fire. They want to walk in there, God bless them. So I want to see an ordinance that says people can do whatever they want in the forest preserves, or not, as long as they're not damaging nothing. You know, and then when you use the word damage, that becomes another big giant word. What is damage? Well, damage isn't walking over a bunch of trees that fell or creating a new path by walking it 15,000 times. That's not damage. Damage is if they do something malicious, like start a fire or chop a tree down. So please, let's just end this problem and make an ordinance that people can go wherever they want in there.
All right, thank you, Steve. Apparently this is queued up. So seat 16, I believe, belongs to Julie. Good morning.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, everyone. I just want to share, as a family and a mom of 3 sons, my sons were always on the trails. They love the mountain bike trails. And being runners, they also loved the ability to run on dirt. We have Knocknalls Park near us, which has the trails for the mountain bikes, which the runners love to use as well, because once the main trails were paved, that led to some very unhappy athletes. More injuries, just a very uncomfortable experience when they would run every day. So I am really supportive of this type of a partnership. I believe that with the appropriate planning and agreements and clear communication, we could have a good relationship and provide. There is a demand for this. I'm hearing it from my constituents as well. To me, it would be similar to our partnership with the Nature Foundation. That's an incredible partnership. They contribute a lot to the forest preserves. And if we can move this forward, I believe we could accomplish a lot for our residents and also bring a lot more opportunity to bring nature into each home in Will County. So I am excited about this, and I feel like this would be a great complement to the Will County Forest Preserve. Thank you.
Thank you. And I figured out this queue. I think I went backwards, so I tried to do it the way we keyed in. So let's go with Dan, and then Mr. Butler, and then Frankie will be next. Dan.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say, I believe that all those signs should be pulled down, telling people don't be a jerk, because I don't think they are being jerks. And I find that it's offensive. I think that a lot of people that saw it were kind of shocked. I don't think, I agree with Steve, but not in the way he said it. I want to say that I don't believe any ordinance should be made. I think there's way too many laws. I mean, people are going to use the trails. Let them use the trails. The majority of the population does not use those trails. Now, if there's areas in the forest preserve, like, getting close to a creek bed where they got mud clams that are endangered, we should post something and we should take action. I don't think any broad sweeping actions are warranted. I think the signs need to come down. They really do. It's one of the safest activities for children to experience the outdoors. I know myself, one of my favorite or best memories was when I was riding my bike through the forest preserves. It was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And I think that that actually brings more interest to the forest preserves and promotes the forest preserves so that more people take an active interest in it. And I think that coming on with a hard line and trying to control the way they use the forest preserves is going to have a negative reaction. It's going to make people upset with the forest preserve, and I don't think we want that. But at the same time, I don't want to make some broad sweeping, rule like you do whatever you want. Sorry, Steve, don't mean to. But I just think we have too many laws and too many rules. Let's let common sense prevail and just let people, enjoy the way they want. And if there comes a situation, we should step in and we should protect certain areas that need it. And I really, the second speaker with his daughter, what he said, it hit home. And it made me remember a lot of the things like when I was younger, when I enjoyed riding my bike into the forest preserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Frankie, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, most of what I was thinking has already been said by my board members here, so I won't repeat it. But where did this Don't Be a Jerk campaign come from?
So the Don't Be a Jerk campaign started in 2019, and it's actually an award-winning campaign. It's meant to be a straightforward approach to get everybody's attention to follow the rules. So we brought it back in 2024 to grab attention and to highlight the rules in the preserves.
All right. Well, I agree with Member Butler and many of our guests today that it's probably time to move on from that.
Okay. If you guys want to watch the YouTube videos of Don't Be a Jerk, it is very entertaining on that side. To see it on a sign, it's not as obvious that it's supposed to be a straightforward message. But if you watch the videos, it's pretty interesting.
All right. Thank you for that. And I'll end it with, our forest preserves belong to the residents of Will County. And I think we should all be happy to hear that there's so much interest in using it. And I think we should get out of the way and let them use it. They're enjoying it. And that's exactly what we want. It's taxpayer dollars that allow us to have them. And these are the taxpayers that are looking to enjoy it. So I would support their efforts to give them a safe and enjoyable place to ride their bikes and hike and use it. And I'm hoping we can do that sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you, Frankie. Judy, good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, I've received, as we all have received, a bunch of emails regarding this. And I think I do kind of remember the Don't Be a Jerk campaign, but I never saw a sign. So I guess when you're riding a bike and you see Don't Be a Jerk, it is kind of offensive that we're calling you a jerk. I know Vince doesn't like it when I call him a jerk. But I'm totally in support of allowing residents to have more opportunities in our forest preserves than we currently have today, because not everyone wants to get on a paved path. I know when I go to the Kankakee State Park, I don't always stay on that paved path, and I will take a little area that perhaps the deer made and follow it down to the river and just sit there on a rock and watch the river go by. So it's a pleasure that people have, is to get out in nature, and I think it's something we should provide. Living where we do, we don't have a lot of opportunities. We don't have ocean. We don't have a lot of lakes we can swim or fish in. Well, we have fishing opportunities, but not actually swimming opportunities. We don't have mountains where they could go on mountain bikes and stuff like that. So if we partner with this group, who seems to be very, very helpful and willing to participate in creating a trail and maintaining the trail, I think that makes sense. And they've proved themselves in Cook and Kane County, so I think it's something we should definitely look into, and I would be in full support. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. This is confusing to me. I don't know what you have ladies got going on over there.
It's not working
Okay,
fine.
and that, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for coming out and bringing this to our, full attention, and making us aware of your organized group. I'm happy that Ralph is open to meeting with you guys, and I look forward, it's very interesting what you brought forward to us. I do have a lot of questions. So I look forward to working with Ralph and brainstorming on how we can make this work, be beneficial for everyone. So thank you again for coming out.
Thank you, Annette. Jackie, good morning.
Thank you, Chair Van Dyne. I too appreciate the group coming out and their willingness to work with us. And certainly, I know that our executive director will do his due diligence. I loved the Don't Be a Jerk campaign. I still love it. I think it's a great campaign. I can't tell you the number of times I have sat here and listened to other board members, commissioners, talk about the rude bike riders and how they almost get hit by a bike rider when they're walking on a trail. I've heard it multiple times. I don't think that we should allow people to just do whatever they want to do. We're not allowed to do that even on our own private property in this country. We have rules, ordinances, zoning processes. So I don't think it's okay to just let bike riders ride wherever they want to ride. I just don't, for their safety and for ours. And for the safety of the plants and trees and bushes that we are trying to preserve, including the habitat of the animals that live in our preserves that we are trying to preserve. So willy-nilly is not my idea of fun, even though I keep looking for Willy everywhere. Sorry, it's a reference to the scavenger hunt game. Find Willy. Yeah, I'm very glad to hear that you're going to meet with them and discuss what can be worked out. We have rules for a reason, and I'm sure that this will all come forward to us in the best possible package. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Jim, did you concede?
No, I think I just got shut off.
Oh. Good
How's
morning,
that?
Jim.
Joe, thank you for your time.
I may have shut you off. I don't know.
It's okay. It's just like being at home. I'm telling you. That's okay. She knows. So, I have to agree with my colleagues and everything they said. And I know I did get a number of emails from, I got a lot of emails, so I'm sure it's several of you. But first off, thanks for taking time out to come out here and bring up an issue or concern that I was unaware of. Because if you look at me, you probably say he's possibly a runner or mountain biker, not. However, I was an Eagle Scout, so I did spend a lot of time in the woods and did a lot of camping and stuff like that. So I know the appreciation that youth can have for the outdoors. And I think with the way that things have changed in that, I think that there's an opportunity for us to work together by you bringing this concern to us. I know I talked to Ralph, I think when I got the first or second email, and you were open to discussion. So I think we'll be able to move something forward that'll make sense and be logical for everybody, I hope. But if you have any other additional concerns, feel free to reach out to myself or any of my other colleagues, and we'll see what we can do. So thank you very much for your time, and good luck to your daughter this afternoon. Thank you, Mike. Or Jeffrey. Jeffrey was. You're Mike. Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Vince, good morning. Hi.
Good morning. I have 2 quick points. So for the last 8 years, my son and I, we've been bike riding. Unfortunately, nowhere in Illinois. We have to go to Tennessee, Louisiana, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin. There's nothing in Illinois. So I kind of echo that we do need something. One of the people over there was talking about, and I heard the word anxiety, and that kind of triggered mental illness. So I kind of thought, only if we had like a committee or a board that could give money that was designed for mental illness. We have a 708 board that can actually probably help fund something. And I know there's quite a lot of money there. So if somehow they could tie that in and we could explore how that could be seen as something that could help mental illness and our residents, I don't know why they wouldn't want to partner with 708 Mental Illness Board. I mean, they've got $10 million sitting there. So that's my thought. That might be something we can explore. Thanks.
Thank you, Vince. And Micah, good morning to you.
Good morning and thank you. First of all, I'm not sure where the gentleman is that's daughter is having surgery, but
Over here.
It was good.
I will be saying a prayer for her. Hope all is okay. As a Forest Preserve Commissioner, I know that our job is to help protect the nature factor. So if we could partner with them, which it sounds like we're going to do, that would be my first go-to. I have taken my own children on walks. My son loves to rock climb, but he only goes where he's allowed, because he knows that there's a reason he can't go where he's not allowed, be it destroy the rock formations or erosion or something along those lines. Or safety. Thank you, Jackie. Sorry. But I think that's where we're at. And so I'm hoping that we can find something that is safe, that will preserve the area. I know that Cook County and some of these other counties, they have much larger forest preserves than ours. Ours are small and spread out all over. So I'm not sure about how that will work. And the park districts, they have more of a leeway as far as protection. If I'm correct, the state of Illinois, if a park is under their jurisdiction, that it is impossible. You can't allow bikes at all. It's your feet only. So, I mean, these are things that we have to consider, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. 3 more. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. So I just wanted to break away from the personal stories and just try and get back to the policy discussion about this. What sparked the signs? What sparked them going up? They said they came up about 2 weeks ago. What was because there could be a very good reason that the signs went up.
Our issue has never been with mountain biking. Our issue is with responsibility and organization. And no one has ever come forward to the Forest Preserve District and requested permission to do this. No one has ever shared plans about what they're doing. So as far as we're concerned, it's a rogue operation right now. And there may be individuals out there doing something, but it sounds like the folks from Camber can help organize them and bring it together. And we can then have some responsibility back and forth to us and to some other organization.
Sure. They had mentioned though that the signs went up to about 2 weeks ago. Were you guys aware of them going up? Like, was there like a call or something?
I think, no, sorry, Chief Chapman did already mention the reasoning behind that. Do you want to reiterate?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, the trail system has existed for a while, the unauthorized trail system, and it's our responsibility to enforce the current regulations. And so the signage went up to enforce the rules. We've been enforcing the rules. We're just trying a different angle to get everybody to follow the rules.
So there was like a lot of people using it to the point where we felt to mitigate it, we went the sign route as opposed to just the trying to catch people in the act route?
Correct.
Okay. And then so was there, if these people were using all these trails, were there ever instances where they were cited or anything like that by our team?
Yes,
Tell them
people
no?
have been cited. Mhm.
And so did you guys know about your group? There was a lot of people being cited or?
We heard that, yes.
Mark, this is commissioner comments. This is not designed to engage with the public.
Okay, all right. Well,
You know-
it just seems from a policy level, getting back to my comment, we had the fisherman come here earlier in the year. He wanted to have access. I don't remember exactly where, but he was fishing there for his many years living in the county. And then all of a sudden overnight, a sign went up telling him that they couldn't do that. I think we all remember that if we don't. So it just seems like before we go throw the signs up, we should have a discussion as a board so we don't have residents who are entitled to use these assets that their taxes pay for. You know, I just think it would be an appropriate approach to do it. I mean, putting the sign up and then enforcing people not to use part of the forest preserve that they pay. I mean, what were we going to do with the forest preserve anyway? Just let it sit and not anybody use it? So I don't know. That's my perspective on it. I would just like to be involved in the policy discussions so we're not blindsided.
Well, I would say one positive thing about the signage is it's got some people to come forward and engage.
Thank you, Mark. Raquel, you're next. Good morning.
Good morning. I was going to, you took my line, Ralph. All right. I'm glad this group came forward. I can't wait to see what the result of that is with President Parker and you, Ralph, and seeing how everything is gonna come together. I would like to see you guys on the trails. However, with safety, making sure that nobody gets run over by a bike or any of that. And that was it. I just wanted to wrap it up with that. All right.
Thank you, Raquel. And I think the last speaker, commissioner, is Sherry. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say, along with everybody else, that I do hope that we're able to work something out with the mountain bikers. But I would also ask that they respect our rules and regulations while we're in the process of working something out. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. So the group and the Forest Preserve Executive Director look forward to you guys meeting offline again or for the first time and trying to come up with a solution to the commissioner's issues. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, again, for coming in and letting us know how we can help and how we can try to make our preserves better for the residents. Okay. Any other commissioner willing to have a comment before we close? Seeing none. Motion to adjourn? Motion, second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Is there anyone opposed to that? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Just those two?
1 minute warning. 1 minute. Excellent. 30 seconds. Thirty seconds. Hockey. Hockey, that's what I understand. No, because when there's a 2 minute warning, it becomes 5 minutes with TV commercials.
So real quickly, I like that. I thought
Mhm.
you had one of the friends saying. Expecting big things and then
Hey, isn't that the way yes. Isn't that the way Chicago sports has been for many, many years?
20 years ago. That was before the
Before they,
Stanley Cup.
yeah. I'd like to call to order the Forest Preserve Finance Committee meeting today at 9:56. Could I please have, you know, if you could just take your conversation out to the hallway. I don't want to be disrespectful, but we do have another meeting. Actually, we've got several meetings that we have to get going on with. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Thank you. All right, if I could have Frankie, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. So we don't have a lot of stuff on the agenda today, but hopefully we'll have as healthy a conversation on the budget as what we just had in operation. So could I have a roll call, please?
Ogala, Butler, Williams, Winfrey, Logan, Revis, Ortiz, Costa, Richmond,
Here.
also President Treasurer Newquist, and President Parker. We have 7. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. All right. First item up is the schedule of bills. Can I get a motion? Have a roll call, please.
Ogala, Butler, Williams, Winfrey, Logan, Revis, Ortiz, sorry, Costa, Richmond.
Yes.
We have 7 scheduled bill.
All right, excellent. Next item up is the approval of minutes for the finance meeting, August 1st, 2024. Can I get a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. No old business, seeing none. Next up is new business, approval of resolution number 24-17, authorizing the right to exercise and terminate the right of first refusal to track 520 in Fiddiment Creek watershed. Can I get a motion? Any discussion? Everybody had a chance to take a look at that? Okay. Previous? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item up is just a presentation on the 2025 draft budget review. I'll turn that over to Ralph, and we can go from here.
And I did speak, and I'm going to abbreviate my comments today until we have the full board next week. But I just did want to make a few points. So if you remember from previous budget discussions, or when we were looking at the bond issue earlier this summer, the Forest Preserve District has 2 levies that we levy for. One is the operating levy. It's actually made up of 6 separate levies, including our general or corporate levy, as well as the construction and development levy. And then there's a few smaller ones that have to deal with retirement and Social Security and tort and audit. The other thing that it contains is our construction and development levy. That's also part of the operating levy. And then lastly, the debt levy. And I explained during the summer that we were going to retire a significant amount of debt, which we are still going to do. That debt levy rate will decrease 45.9%. So we are projecting an overall rate reduction of 21.39% in the budget that has been proposed. The other thing I wanted to point out is that there are several uses of the fund reserve balance. These are one-time uses, and we've been doing this for the past several years. Our current fund reserve is at about 9 months. We are proposing to use 1 month of fund reserve, or about $1.4 million, to fund some capital projects and one-time purchases throughout the organization. That was that time. There are also, let me go back here really quick. You're also going to be eventually approving budgets that you will not be levying for. These are funds that are already set aside. They're in the bank, typically from bond issues or grants, or they're transfers of funds from your corporate into things like the vehicle replacement fund, where you build a balance so that you make sure you have the money to buy the cars when the cars need to be bought, or the trucks. And the other is the computer replacement. Same idea. You want to be sure that you have the funds available to make the repairs or the purchases when that becomes necessary. Overall, you can see our fund revenues listed up there. It looks like there's a little box in the way of one of them. On property taxes, about 78% of our operating budgets come from property taxes. About 2.3% come from replacement taxes. One of the significant things that we're dealing with in this budget is a reduction in the property tax revenue as projected by the state of Illinois, almost 30% less than we've received in previous years. So we tried to accommodate that. Permits, fees, and licenses are about 5.75%. That is a slight increase of about 7.5% over last year. Other income, 1.81%. We have a fund balance reserve. Now, I just said 1.4 million, and you're seeing a number up there that says 2.3 million. That's because we're also using some fund reserve in our Social Security or FICA sub-fund, as well as our tort, which is liability insurance sub-fund, and then our IMRF sub-fund. We did also have increases in IMRF costs this year, not because of new staff, but because of the actuarial studies that they do. So those went up a bit for us. Our liability insurance also increased slightly, not too bad. The one that's probably the worst for us was our health insurance costs increased significantly. You may remember that we participate with a number of other organizations in what's called the Government Insurance Network. The best we could do was negotiate a 9% increase. A 9% increase equates to about a $200,000 increase for the Forest Reserve. So the other thing there is called a BABS rebate. BABS were called Build America bonds. They were made available following the 2008 financial crisis. And those, the federal government actually rebates the cost of a portion of the interest on those. We take that rebate, and since we used those bonds to build things and for capital, we put it back into our construction and development fund to fund additional capital development in the future. And then you can see the total revenues there of about $22 million, give or take. Personnel accounts for 62% of our budget. I've said this before, you probably have heard me say it. That's a pretty low number for a government agency. We try to keep a pretty slim down staff, lean and quick to respond, hopefully for the mountain bikers. Contractual, that's a lot of different things come into our contractual costs, and that's about 17.3%. But some of it is like electricity and things of that nature, natural gas, and then typical like professional services, contractual. Commodities, that's actual gasoline. Those are things that you kind of go through during the year. That's about 914,000, about 4% of our budget. Capital, you'll see there we're still investing 3.1 million in capital, but capital is a big category. So those are things that could be vehicle purchases. Those are things that are improvements to maybe a renovation of a nature center or building improvements. A lot of things fall into that. Typically, there's lots of projects that add up to that 3 million. It's not just one big thing that we're doing. Miscellaneous, you have $630,000 in expenditures. That's about 2.9%, 3%. And so your expenditures balance out with your revenues. So that's all I wanted to say today. I mean, obviously, I'll answer any questions that anybody has, but I think the memo that you have really outlines it. It's a 6-pager, so it's going to take you, 15 minutes to dig through, but it'll give you an idea of where the increases were, where the decreases were, and what the current state of our finances are with the budget. It's a good budget. It's a balanced budget. It is a slight increase. We did calculate in new construction as well as some of the CPI. Just to throw out a couple of numbers that I don't have a slide for, the maximum allowable increase in the Forest Preserve's budget by state statute is $885,000. We don't need $885,000. So we're recommending increase of about 585, and that 585 is primarily used to cover those cost increases in those areas that I was saying are kind of out of our control. There are no new full-time staff. There were no benefits added. We did add some part-time staff and some seasonal staff. That seems to be working for us, utilizing those individuals to offset some of the full-time staff costs. So we'll continue to do that and try to be as fiscally responsible as we can.
Any, Mark? Okay, questions?
Ralph, first of all, thank you for preparing this. I think it looks great. Lisa, I'm sure you played a role in it as well. It looks awesome. I think it's very detailed and it has a lot of information, but there are some core things that I would like to cover. I'm going to start with you mentioned 1.4 million out of our reserves.
Yes.
Are going to be used for various capital improvements.
Yes.
If I heard that right.
Yes.
And then there was also another line. So does that 1.4, is that included in the 3.1 up there?
Yes, it is actually.
It is actually. Good. Okay, so what are those what projects are going to be done in the 1.4?
Okay, so those are a lot of smaller projects, not large construction projects. It's outlined in your memo, but that's interpretive signage at this is replacement signage at Riverview Farmstead, Lake Renwick, Heron, Rook Reed Nature Preserve.
I read that paragraph then. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so all that stuff.
Got it. And so that's separate from the capital improvement plan 2025 to 2030.
Correct. Those are large scale projects. Those are typically geared at new access, new trail, or land restoration.
So there are 50 million of those dollars. Couldn't we allocate the 1.4 million for these small little projects out of that capital improvement plan 2025 to 2030?
It could be done, but your fund reserve, we do not need a 9-month fund reserve. And so the point is not to save money and just have it invested. That would be great if we were private citizens, but as a public body, if we tax, we want to use it.
So that takes me to my very next point. We're talking about the $585,000 increase. Why can't we use some of the money from our reserves on that 585 and not, you get what I'm saying? Replace the increase with
because it's a fundamental concept in government budget. You do not use your reserve to cover your operating costs, because at some point that reserve is gone and you now have operating costs that you can't cover.
But couldn't we reduce operating costs and pay what we reduce them with, pay it through the cash reserve and the remaining balance? We don't have to spend the money for these operating costs. I mean, that's a choice. 1.4 million is a choice.
Yeah, everything that you're transferring is being spent. You also have a capital that you're spending in your construction and development fund now, as well as your corporate fund. This is over and above what is needed to complete some of these projects. So these are other things that have been identified by the different departments in the organization that are needed, that we cannot cover with operating costs. So we can only accommodate, if you look at your budget details, you'll see the capital, or you can just kind of do the math there and say 3.1 minus 1.4, what about 1.7 or something like that? I guess I'm not sure.
Start counting, it turns into real money at some point.
Yeah. But what you're suggesting is not good government finance.
Sure, but just to take it a step further, suggesting that we should continually increase our expenses when a lot of these things might have a little bit more of a discretionary component to them. When people are struggling to buy eggs, milk, bread, they're more expensive than they've ever been. Rents are through the roof. People are struggling right now. And we have to belt tighten, in my opinion. When we look, we have 78% of our revenue is coming from these property taxes that are breaking our residents' back. So we have to try and do something about it. So,
which you are, because you have a 22% reduction in your levy.
Yeah, but we're still increasing.
$300,000 house,
but it's still an increase,
the
right?
owner of a $300,000 house is going to pay $96 a year to fund the forest reserve and everything that it has.
I get that, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to paint any broader brush other than we have to take greater steps, in my estimation as a board member, to combat high property taxes. I understand you're satisfied with that level, but the people I talk to aren't. Even a couple of the folks that were here today, when we had some asides talking about it, they aren't satisfied with what their property tax bill's been doing. And so we have to take those actions. So one option, instead of taking the money from our property taxpayers, would be to, I'm going to say the term, There's a lot of side conversation right now. It's kind of difficult to pay attention, but that being said, we have to make an effort, and I'm going to be careful with this word, but to commercialize the forest preserve. We have a lot of assets that can return us money. We saw the mountain bike crew. Why can't we try and get mountain bike crews to come in and host a weekend event in our forest preserve, and they pay to use our forest preserve? There's other options, weddings. I know we've talked about that. 5Ks, trying to get people to come in and host a 5K on one of our properties, and they're paying us to host a 5K. These are creative ideas. I think
Mark,
we
all
need-
good ideas, and all of them come with a cost and a burden to not only the forest preserve as a facility, but also to the staff. So you brought up a bunch of great ideas, and I think that those, Ralph is perfectly open to listening to the folks from Canberra. And I don't know, I'm reading your body language and reading what you said, is you're going to have a meeting sooner rather than later.
Yes.
You're open to discussion, and you're open to ideas on how to make the forest preserves more, call it user-friendly, or open to new activities. So I think that as organizations bring things like this to the forefront, we'll be more than happy to look at those and see if they can be a good revenue generator. If they're not going to be a revenue generator, we're not going to go and put them, and I can't speak for Joe on operations, but we've got to look at this, and like I've said before, government can be run like a business. The question is how do we do it legally? And ultimately, you brought up some good ideas in that, and maybe those are some things that you and Ralph should have a conversation with offline and see if we can come to some kind of agreement that can be brought forward to the appropriate committee and have that conversation.
Well, we have two committees. One of them is finance. That's the one I'm on. Me and Ralph have talked about these things offline. I felt that this is our budget discussion period where we should be talking about creative ways to increase our revenue. So if this wasn't the appropriate venue to do it.
I'm not saying it's not appropriate. I'm just saying that you brought up some things that I have not heard of before. And, hosting weddings and things like that, I'm sure, Tracy, there's liabilities and issues that we need to address and be concerned with.
Well, in reference to that, as you know, we host weddings at Four Rivers and our pricing is very competitive.
Sure.
And we also host a lot of 5Ks from outside organizations that pay their permit fees. And we rent the pavilions, we rent other spaces, we have camping permits, we do all of those
And
things.
I know it, and I'm saying that we need to double down, triple down on those things to try and generate more revenue so we can eliminate our reliance on property taxes so much. That's what's breaking our residents' backs.
We agree.
I know I sound like a broken record.
We
thing.
agree.
To add to
Yeah.
Jim's point, all of those things also create additional work for the employees and staff and supplies and all of those things. We do have a very strong volunteer system at the Forest Preserve, so that contributes to those events as well. But all those additions, as we're bringing in the funds, create other expenses.
So I think you got your point across, Mark. Now we need to do is have a conversation with, Ralph and Annette and let's figure out how to move any of those forward through committee. Okay, because I want to stick to the topic at hand is the actual budget in that. And I agree, these are items that could be discussed with the budget, but I think what we're doing is we're going down a rabbit hole, so to speak, on details that we can't solve in today's meeting. So let's figure out a way to move that forward though. Okay. So next up, I think was Annette, and then Dan. So Annette, Dan, and then Janet.
All
Okay,
right,
perfect.
so Mark, actually, I hear what you're saying, and I think there are some ideas there that they could possibly look into. But real quick, I think you did say your permit fees and licenses were up this year, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So then I'm looking at the expenses. Where in there is like the debt?
The debt levy is it's a separate levy. So
separate,
I'm
okay.
just showing you operating. So
Gotcha.
your debt levy went from about 14 million this year to about 8.2 million next year. And that's actually shown in the attachment.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we'll be voting on this in October, correct?
That is correct. So in September, I'll do this same thing with everybody, and then it won't be voted on until October,
Okay.
along with the levies.
Yes, thank you.
So, and you know what, Dan, if I could just speak just ahead of you just one second, and One of the things that I did talk to Ralph about too is when you look at your actual budget, it just has what was budgeted. What we're going to do is drill down into the past years, what was actually spent, and do something very similar to what we've done at the county level, and maybe have that for September's meeting. I don't know. October's meeting? Okay, all right.
Sorry, we actually push out the agenda for your September meeting
Yeah,
tomorrow.
okay.
So
All
we
right,
just-
so what we're looking to do is, again, be more transparent, provide more information so we can make good decisions based on, accurate information. And I'm not saying your information
No,
is inaccurate.
no.
I'm just saying
Right.
I should say additional information is the right word.
Yes.
So, all right, so Dan, you're up.
Okay, I just want clarification. I don't have a lot of a strong standpoint here, but I just wanted to make sure I understand this. So you have cash reserves because your revenues don't all come on at once. And there's fluctuations in between receiving money and stuff. So you always need to be able to cover that. So you're not, unable to pay your bills.
Correct.
And your cash reserves are always a percentage of your total revenues or operating cost.
Well, yeah, we typically go by months because it takes us till about July or August before our revenues catch up with the previous 7 or 8 months' expenses.
But your cash reserves are always reflected as a percentage of those costs. Is that correct? Or is there a set amount?
No, there's not. It fluctuates based on what the operating costs of the organization are. So
percentage.
Well, yeah, but not really. I mean, I would give you a percentage, but I would just take our expenses and divide it by 12 and then multiply it by 8. And then that would be the percentage. What the percentage we are required to have on by statute is 35%. 35% gets us to about May, and then we just kind of stop paying people for a couple of months. But that's not adequate. So we have to go a little bit further. We're not unique. I mean, other organizations are like us.
But if your operating costs were to go down over 3 months,
Yes.
then your cash reserves would also follow suit.
If our operating costs went down, the cash reserves would stay the same.
And then the cash reserves would, if the operating costs increase, then the cash reserves goes up for the next 3 months.
It actually goes down.
It goes down.
Yeah, because you're drawing from your reserve to pay your cost. So some people
Okay,
have
but I
asked
mean, the
us-
money you collect for your cash
Yes.
reserves, is it always the same?
Well, we collect only based on the levies. And what happens is at the end of a calendar year and you do your audit, you'll always end up with a little bit of fund. I shouldn't say always. We tend to end up with a little bit left over. And the reason we end up with a little bit left over is you might not have all your positions filled. You might not have been able to finish that project that you started in September, but you're carrying it over into the next year because the contractor didn't perform. You may have budgeted for the purchase of something that came in 10% less. And so you end up with a little bit of money that gets swept into your reserve. And then that reserve builds or doesn't. So in our case, our fund reserve went up a little bit. No, it went down a little bit based on last year's drawdown. However, I'll note that we had planned a larger drawdown, but because of those reasons I just gave, where you might get a cheaper contract or you don't have all your positions filled, and so you're not spending money on those wages, that money is collected but not spent. So that's what we use to fund our fund reserve.
Okay, I guess it's good that I'm not an accountant,
Okay.
because, but I was hoping that there was some kind of formula that people could just be comfortable with, like, hey, this is how we do it. And if, we need more, then it goes up. And if we don't need as much, it tends to, tend not to put as much in there because we don't need as much. That's what I was hoping there was some.
So I think the challenge with this government unit is the fact they rely heavily on property taxes. Property tax receipts aren't received until July. but they still have to operate from December through July. So you're operating with a negative. So that's why you need the higher reserves to carry you through that period of time. If it was more like a business where you've got weekly or monthly receipts coming in, they could probably then in turn reduce their cash reserves because the money is, it's coming in one door and going out the other door. The challenge that they
Right.
have though is they've got a carrying period of 7 months,
Right.
roughly.
And that part I understood. The rest, I'll just
Okay.
have to catch up on my own. I don't want to take up any
Okay.
more time.
And we can cover that more offline, Dan, if you want. I mean,
all
because I know Ralph is more than willing to explain everything in detail in that. So, all right. So did that answer your question? Well, all right. Did we answer you? All right. Janet's next, and then Judy, is your microphone on too? Okay, thanks. So Janet, then Judy, and then Julie, I'm sorry. Okay.
I have a
Jan-
question, Ralph. How many acres of land does the Forest Preserve own?
About 23,000.
So for under $100 or around $100, you have access to 2,300 acres?
23,000.
23,000 acres. I think that's a heck of a deal for our taxpayers. And if they'd like to complain, please write to me. I'd love to hear it. I'll be honest, because I think that's a great deal and I don't understand why we're thinking that this isn't a good deal. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, when you really divide it out. So get out there and ride your bikes, walk, do whatever you want to do in nature, please. Enjoy our 23,000 acres.
Yep.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy, then Julie, and then I think that'll be it as far as I see.
Do we have any idea right now what new construction is going to be?
We have done an estimate, and all we did was look at last year, and then Lisa applies a more conservative multiplier. We're waiting for that number.
Yeah, I know it takes a while. Okay. And then what percent of CPI are we thinking of taking?
3.4.
Thank you.
Julie, and then I
Thank
think that'll be
you.
the end.
Ralph, regarding the dog permits, I know that people in northern Will County would like the ability to also go to DuPage and vice versa. DuPage right next to Wayland Lake. And if we were to have a reciprocal or some type of agreement with DuPage, I know that these dog owners would pay an additional fee. That could be some additional revenue for us. They're very willing, their dogs are their children,
Right.
family members. But I think, the desire's there. I mean, literally, I am right next to Springbrook and I think that would also give, dog owners more opportunities and it is a very family-oriented thing as well. So I think we get a lot of support if we were to offer an additional fee, the ability to access our preserves. If we can consider that, I think it'd be a great idea, and I know a lot of people would appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no others. I think that pretty much handles that. Next up, executive session. We have no need for executive session. Reports, anything on that? If not, our next meeting will be scheduled for Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, immediately following the Operations Committee meeting, but no earlier than 9:15 here. Oh, did I say the 15th? So I'm looking at 9:15. All right. Please,
You said October 3rd.
mine says October 3rd.
Mine says October 5.
Okay, we can negotiate that later. Whatever day that is.
We'll
Okay.
send you an agenda.
The first Thursday. All right. Thank you for the correction on that. So all right, the 3rd. Okay. All right. Do we want to have any more debate on that, or we good? We're good? Okay, October 3rd, here at the Will County Office Building. That's fine. Public comment at all? Anybody from the public, anything online? None online? Okay, seeing none. Comments by commissioners? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor? All right, we're adjourned. Yeah. Well, how'd you? I just, that's,
Oh, okay.
Well, all right.
It's not important if I'm here, it's important that you all are here, so that's.
Yeah, well.
So it is almost like, I.
Well, thank you, everyone.